Fried is a distinguished fellow at the Atlantic Council. He's also a former U.S. ambassador to Poland, and he's joining me right now from Washington. Mr. Ambassador, great to see you.
Afternoon. Good to be here.
So it'll be hard for anyone not to remember, the last White House meeting with Zelensky, when Trump and Zelensky do meet tomorrow. I want to play another moment from that earlier this year.
Mr. President, with respect, I think it's disrespectful for you to come into the Oval Office and try to litigate this in front of the American media. Right now, you guys are going around and forcing conscripts to the front lines because you have manpower problems. You should be thanking the president for trying to bring an end to this conflict.
Have you ever been to Ukraine that you say what problems we have?
I think it makes everybody uncomfortable every time they watch that. So, did the inclusion, perhaps, now of leaders from the UK, France, Italy, and Germany remove any kind of residual acrimony and now potentially include greater hope for Ukraine advocacy?
Let's hope so. First, President Zelensky and President Trump will meet without the Europeans. So let's hope we get through that in a constructive, serious spirit. I'm glad the European leaders are coming here. They need to be part of a solution. They need to contribute to Ukrainian security. So it's good that they'll be here. But I must say, I'm not as confident as Steve Witkoff that the Russians have actually made concessions. He talked about Russians accepting security guarantees for Ukraine. If they mean it, that's a big deal. But what actually did the Russians offer? Are they going to be part of these security guarantees? Do they get a veto over the security guarantees? Are they able to block European and U.S. action? We need to look at the details pretty closely. And the White House should be clear that the Russians often offer things that are shiny on the outside and poison on the inside. But still, tomorrow has some hope that the U.S. can claw back some of what Putin grabbed from us and grabbed from Ukraine on Friday in Anchorage.
Do you think it's odd that we haven't heard those kinds of details about what, Putin wanted or what he grimaced about? Or is that part of the process, because Zelensky wasn't at the table, it wasn't trilateral, that the White House shouldn't reveal that kind of detail?
I think the White House has a point not revealing details until the deal is out, but they need to be very careful not to be hoodwinked by Putin or agree to something that looks shiny and isn't. There are two big issues. There's territory and there's security for Ukraine. Security for Ukraine should be something the Europeans and the U.S. provide, not something that Russia has to agree to. If they're part of it, of a security guarantee, it's no guarantee at all. We ought to be very firm on that point. The Europeans need to put up the bulk of the forces. The U.S. needs to stand behind them. And although I don't think there'll be any U.S. troops on the ground, U.S. air power stationed elsewhere, maybe in Poland, operating over Ukraine could be a very big deal, a game changer. So security guarantees are possible if the Europeans are ready to put up and the Americans are ready to back up. The other issue is territory. Putin is demanding